how are you coming in this fourth quarter? Like as the year kind of gets to the holiday season, coming out of the coming out of like Halloween and going into November.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm kind of in 2025.
Okay.
Just because I don't know. I hate the plan at the new year type thing. I don't know. I kind of have a new perspective on just like goal setting and things like that. So like I'm kind of thinking about my year, what happened in general at this time, and I'm just kind of thinking, okay, now what do I want to do? Not even just for the year in general, but just for like life, you know? So I don't know. I've been reminiscing now opposed to like December 31st. Nothing against that. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. My mindset's kind of changed on that. How are you winding down with the holidays and also like, things winding down here at Reach?
Oh, no, winding down is not happening.
It's not?
No, we're like, from a business standpoint, we're definitely trying to fill the calendar for next year now.
Yeah, right.
Something that I think in 2023, I probably didn't do the best job of like, oh, we got to get music out in first quarter. And so, because we had such like a busy year, 23, I felt like I came to the year kind of dragging my feet a little bit.
Okay.
Or just being a little bit foot off the gas. So now I'm trying to like, I'm looking at January, February, March releases now, working on them to kind of fill the calendar up and to give the fans something to kind of like, because I feel like there always is a reset energy top of the year, and I would love for our artists and Christian hip hop at large to have new music, fresh music ready to kind of complement people's reset.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? People back
good.
in the gym, people back kind of hopefully back in their word. They're kind of resetting. So like, let's have the music ready to kind of accompany that. You know
wow, this is the mind behind the music you guys love. I love how that sounds very intentional.
Yes, absolutely.
As a listener, I appreciate that.
No, for
That's
sure.
great.
Like we gotta, but yeah, thanks. I actually love. I think I've said this before. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
It is.
Yeah.
I think you have said that before.
Yeah. Some of the like some of y'all that's really on like, I don't want to use the word woke, but some of y'all extreme like people who are like, man, that holiday wasn't like created in the right way. It was like oppressive to like the Native Americans. Hey, I ain't celebrating that per se. I'm celebrating my people, what I'm thankful for, and my family. So that's kind of like I kind of compartmentalize the two.
What does Thanksgiving look like in the Harris household?
Man, like, so my family, we Africans, we deep. Like, it's like, for example, we hosted in 2022. Okay. And there was like 50 people at my house. Yeah. 50. And this year, my cousin, shout out my cousin Tunde, that's my dog. He's hosting at his house. Okay. And there may be like 50 people there, 50 plus people. So and that's not even abnormal for us. That's like, hey, whatever.
50?
Yeah, it'd be deep. You got cousins, aunties, uncle, everybody got kids.
Oh, I love
children.
that though.
So it's a lot. We play games. We kind of like have a good time, and food be on.
Okay, now let's get into it.
Yeah. Like, so here's the thing. My wife gets on me. I don't really love like Thanksgiving food. I mean, it's good. Turkey, it's kind of mid. I mean, I've had different. Okay, fried turkey be straight. Okay, we do smoked turkey.
Oh, Ace, that's why you my dog for real.
The
flavor is different.
Yeah, so we do that, and then like. The cranberry sauce, something like, you know what? I do like my mother-in-law's stuff and be hitting. You know? Okay. But we do more like African dishes. So if you're not really like of the culture or like African or like into like West African food or even Caribbean food, you may come to my Thanksgiving and be like, yo, what is this?
No, I would come to your house with to-go boxes because I know what's up.
Oh yeah, to-go boxes. We got them on deck. My mom got the whole. Yeah, but what about you? What does Thanksgiving look like for you?
Thanksgiving, I gotta be honest. So Thanksgiving has changed for me. I'm a very family-oriented person, so I love holidays where it brings us all together. But as my sister's gotten older and, she's had kids, that her husband and her two girls, they go to South Carolina. So I'm not gonna lie, I really miss being around them for Thanksgiving. But they come for Christmas, so that's great. But so our Thanksgivings have looked smaller. But one thing I do like is that I really open it up to my friends. I have a lot of friends here who have family out of town or have small families, or it's just like them and their parents. So I always talk to them about Thanksgiving, and I'm always like, yeah, just come over, for Thanksgiving. So that opens it up more. But not to toot my own horn, but you be cooking? Killing.
Okay.
I hold down mac and cheese every Thanksgiving. Okay. Please don't even play with me. 4 cheeses, I'm not even playing. Okay.
4 cheeses.
4 cheeses, man. My grandma taught me. Shout out to her. She is the matriarch. She's taught my sister how to to make the sweet potatoes. My mom how to make the greens. My sister how to make the dressing. I got to learn another dish just because, like, you know, recipes are just, I don't know, it's something about it that holds on tradition and family and culture in a sense, just even just like in a family. So I really try to hone in on learning dishes. Like my grandma makes a fire pound cake, excuse me, and she taught me. And man, I feel like she passed me the Krabby Patty secret formula.
So basically, what we're saying is right here on this show, you hear Meah talking about all these dishes that's being made that I ain't never had no sample of.
Hey, so don't start with me. Because you're supposed to have been told me about a spot that has African food and Liberian food, and you've been holding out on me.
I ain't never had no sample. I ain't had no pound cake. I ain't had no.
Ace, don't get me started. You should have been all the time. You should be telling me you cooking in the house. You ain't brought me no Liberian food. Okay, you ain't brought me no jollof. Okay, you ain't brought me no cornbread.
Okay. I'm going to do better.
Okay, I'll do better as well. I'll do better as well.
Y'all heard it. Pound cake. But speaking of also like the festivities of Thanksgiving. Let's talk about the heart of it. Like, what are you coming in thankful for this year? What's something that you're like, man, I'm giving thanks, and what does that look like for you? Like, and sometimes I feel like Thanksgiving, giving thanks, we sometimes make it feel like it's very, it has to be a very verbal and expressively like written thing. Yeah. But I wonder if it's like a response. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, is anything that your heart is like responding to with like, thankful? You know what I'm saying?
I think I have a whole new perspective on quality time in my family. Yeah. Because I don't know. When I was, it's crazy. Like when you get older, you just realize just of how certain things just kind of get pulled, like time, like how quick time goes. Sure. Like I don't know what it is, but it's like the year flew by so quick, Ace. And like I'm looking at my nieces who are 1 and 3, and it's like, dang, they're getting so tall so quick and knowing so much. And even the more busier I get as an adult, just trying to like, you know, live life and things like that. I live in the house with my mom, my dad, my brother. I barely see them. Like my grandma is down the street from me. And I went from seeing her every week growing up, every weekend, every other day, to I barely see her. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really, I have a whole new gratitude on quality time. Okay. I have a new gratitude on spending time with family, just being, like not even the fact that we have to do something, vacation, like, you know, it's just the fact that just sitting with you, being with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the days when I come in, from work and I just sit and talk with my dad as he's cooking, like just little things like that.
How's that been?
Fulfilling. Cause it's like, I don't get a chance to see you as much, but just being able to just talk with you casually, like, you know, while you're like making yourself some food, just sitting, being, it's the little things. I don't know, little things like that. I'm really, I don't know. I have a whole new perspective on that. I'm really, really grateful for.
That's amazing. I think it is the little things that we sometimes take for granted that you're thankful for. And
what about you? What are you thinking about?
I feel like I'm definitely just thankful for, man, you know, reflecting on where God is, you know, taking me. I feel like we are, especially people who I probably identify as achievers like I am, we are very much on to the next. What's the next play? Yeah. I mean, I just told you about how I'm kind of preparing for next year, Q1, with releases already this year. And I think lately I've just been kind of thankful to just reflect, like just look back at what, and just kind of rest and like, man, we're always looking for God to do the new thing and almost forsaking the things that he has done. Like, man, just look at the story that's been written. Mm-hmm. Like look at the little moments and you just have to almost kind of transport yourself back to the prayers you used to pray 5 years ago, a year ago, and just sit back and be like, oh, I am walking in prayers that God allowed me to walk in, or I am not experiencing things I prayed for that would have caused me harm. Yeah. So it's like both ends. So I think that's really like what I'm just reflecting. And I also think about how, like, you know, in those reflective times, I think about there's a song by CeCe Winans, man. That song kind of gets me emotional. So written by Jen Johnson of Bethel Music, who I met last year at the Dove Awards, and I was with Limo, and I didn't even know, like I said, I didn't even know who she was. Mm-hmm. I was talking to her all day backstage while Limo was presenting with her, and I was like, "Hey, do you sing?" Mm-hmm. I'm like, "Yo." Then I find out she like wins the award for the songwriter for writing the song of the year, which was I don't know what the title of it, but it's All My Life I've Been Faithful. Yeah. The Goodness of God.
Yes, yeah.
And when I hear that song, I am just like wrecked with like gratefulness. Mm-hmm. All my life you have been faithful. All my life, you have been so good to me. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. And I think that song just always puts me in a heart of like thankfulness and gratefulness, because those lyrics are so simple, so pure.
Yeah.
And we need to sing those lyrics every day.
Bro, every day.
Because when you look back at the story of God's faithfulness, it makes it harder to complain. You're like, dang, God's been good. So, I mean, is there a song on your playlist that you go to, either like Christian or CHH, anything that's like, man, this puts me into a heart of thankfulness?
Yeah, there's a song, Aaron Cole has a song called There For Me. And it doesn't talk about thankfulness and gratitude explicitly, but every time I hear the song, it puts me in an attitude of that. Like the chorus goes through the ups and the downs. You stayed down. You've always had my back. You've been the same, never changed. I'm losing it as I'm talking about it, but it's the fact that I don't know. So at the end of it always says, "You've been there for me." I don't know how, but you've just always been there for me.
Always been there, yeah.
And it's something about that just always just sits well with me. I'm just kind of like, man, like, dang, God, through the ups and the downs, like through the ins and outs, when I was great and when I was at my lowest, like, God, you've been there for me.
Been
man.
there,
like,
yeah.
I'm just like, wow, and just like, and out of that, I say, man, thank you, God. You know, so I think that song really, I don't know, it always hits me different, like around this time. That's
so good, and I want to get into this in the next segment. I mean, we're like gushing with gratitude. We're like, man, but you know, in this culture, in our lives, I'm sure you got some examples too. Like that ain't always the case. You know, there's times. In fact, I be around certain conversations, and I maybe at times join in. And it's like, bro, we just complaining. We just picking everything apart that's wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's such an antithetical view on the gratefulness that we just experienced. So we'll be right back, y'all. This is the 116 Life, Holy Culture Radio, SiriusXM channel 140. Ace Harris here with the freshest Meah Evans, A-Town down. You know what I'm saying?
Greatest city in the world.
Hey, talk about it. Pray for Atlanta. All right, we're just talking and kind of setting this conversation up. I think that gratefulness is like it's something that we all know we need to have a heart of, and prayerfully that gratefulness flows out of us. Thanksgiving should, like the season, regardless of your association with the holiday from a cultural standpoint, I'm not necessarily going to die on that hill. I think the idea and the celebration of giving thanks for what God has done in your life is like, you don't need to have a history lesson on that to negate that. You know what I'm saying? That's a powerful thing we should celebrate. And I think that my prayer is that the holiday puts us in a mood where we're thinking of being thankful. And on the flip side, when I look back through the year, and if you're on social, I mean, we work in media, so social media is a part of our lives. Admittedly, sometimes too much. I did log out last night, so I woke up.
I ain't been on in 2 weeks. It's been beautiful. It's been beautiful.
Mental health on 10.
And mental health on 1,000.
Y'all have mental health issues? Just put the phone down.
Let's oh my gosh.
Go for a walk.
That's a great start.
Cut some grass.
Man, sit in silence.
Move
something.
Put the phone down.
That's a great start. People totally underestimate that.
Well, when I have the phone on and it's not down, I do see it's not even on the phone. It's on socials, and it's in like certain groups or certain conversations I'm around. We are a very critical culture. In 2024, going into 2025, we are a critique culture. We are a Google review, Yelp culture. We are this ain't working for me, so I'm going to criticize it culture. Everything needs to be critiqued. And everything needs to be complained about. And some of it maybe is a response to a culture that was before us, where people were so polite, where we suppressed how we felt to be polite and cordial. So I understand how like maybe there was an era of like suppressed feelings, so you didn't want to, like shake things up. So you kept complaints to yourself as from a place of politeness. Yeah. But I feel like we've swung the pendulum too far, where we just feel like we gotta critique everything. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I wonder if it's because we have social media where you can comment, you can say how you feel, a business, you can say what your experience was. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I wonder if it's because we have that access, we feel the necessary to do it for everything all the time, whenever. You know what I'm saying? Sure. I wonder if because the access of us being able to talk more and give our 2 cents, our hot takes, unpopular opinion. I wonder if
our podcast equipment,
right? Our podcast equipment.
Burn it. No, I'm just kidding.
I feel like I think that's heightened it over the years. What you think?
Yeah, I think that's true. Are you saying people are more empowered because there's more tools and access to be able to voice?
Yeah, you know how you have some people who just like you have some people who try to tell their opinion or criticize to be different, or to sound like go against the grain. Like everyone will like clearly like say that they like something and they just gotta go and get like just go completely go the other way.
And to be fair, and this is probably a gentle critique to us right now. Yes, we are having a conversation about critiquing while critiquing the conversation. So we are lumped into that. So I'm gonna just put it out there. I'm not afraid to admit that. Yeah. And I also think this is necessary to say. We have to critique it for critique's sake. Yeah. So my thoughts is that sometimes there's like a response of like always looking at the negative and not seeing the good. It's literally like the glass half full or half empty mindset. That's a very elementary concept. I will argue there's biblical grounds for that view of like, count it all joy, like having a view of things in a way that's like, I'm going to choose to look at things from a better light. Yeah. I'm not ignoring some of the damage, but if I focus so much on what's wrong, I feel like I'm missing to be thankful for what is good. Right. So talk about how, critiquing culture, if that's a word, maybe that word can be framed and go viral. Criticism culture. Talk about how that culture robs the heart of being thankful. Like, how does that affect a posture of gratefulness?
I think it's perspective. Yeah. Genuinely, I think it's just because your perspective is on the wrong, like how you're talking about the glass half full versus the glass being half empty. I think it's just a matter of perspective and magnitude. Because I feel like when what you focus on magnifies. Sure. So therefore, if you focus on the wrong or what could be better or what you don't like, it magnifies, and then that's all you're focused on. You have no perspective on the other side of the coin. You know what I'm saying? So I think it just, I do think it robs the gratitude, the gratitude attitude, I guess, per se. But I think it's all in perspective.
Yeah, I mean, think about like our friends' conversations and family. Think about the talks at Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Think about how, what are the most popular conversations? Oh, like
for me, where's your husband? Where aren't you married? Ooh, you're not talking to anybody yet. How old are you? Ooh. I'm like,
okay, can we have more conversations of, oh, I'm so grateful you're here. Oh, what's something God's doing in your life? What are you thankful for?
Now, oh my gosh, Ace.
Can we have more? Go ahead.
What's crazy is the fact that, oh my gosh, like criticism culture will leak into Thanksgiving, where how like you have some family members where you cringe seeing them. Cause at least I know I do. Where it's like you're gonna get asked that same question or get criticized on what you're wearing, why this isn't ready, why you didn't make this dish like so-and-so made it.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So then you have people who can't even come to, it's not even about coming to the dinner table, but even just coming around and being in the atmosphere of gratitude because of criticism.
Talk about it. That's good. I just want to sit right there. I think it's almost like that cloud, that mist of like complaining. Something's always got to be wrong. It's like robbing the joy of being grateful. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying there is time for critique, but sometimes, especially not even like on a biblical, but sometimes like in social settings where it's like, this is not an intense event. This is not an intense environment. These are just casual moments of joy. I think we should probably park some of that complaining energy and leave that where you came from.
Yeah, discerning the times. Yeah. Like, there's nothing room for improvement. Sure. Especially in your delivery. Yeah. Your delivery, like how I heard you should always take and receive criticism with a smile. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's also how you deliver it as well. Sure. That will also make a big point, but also discern, like, is this the right time? Sure. To give criticism?
Because you sometimes get around some family members, even people in the faith, where it's just like cynicism is it's what's the word? It's attractive. Like it
contagious.
Yes, it's contagious. Thank you for the word. It is. It kind of like, and sometimes if you're not careful, you'll look around and be like, oh, we're just in a cynicism whirlpool. This is wrong. This is better. I don't like this. I don't like that. And then you realize, you start looking back and you're like, hold up. All we doing is complaining about everything. Now, is this good? These are the conversations that are fruitful, edifying, helpful. I mean, it's not a wrong or right, but are these conversations building us up? Is it building up our walk? Is it building up our brothers? Is it building up our perspective to see God, to be grateful? So I think Yeah, thankfulness is a lot of times robbed by criticism culture. And I think I just, and also I have a thought. So is there a difference between thankfulness and gratefulness? Like, is there a distinction?
Okay.
Is there a way where they're expressed differently? Thankful, like being thankful about something and being grateful.
Okay.
Gratitude and thankfulness. They're kind of similar, but I want to ask you, do you feel like there's a difference?
Okay, so at first I didn't.
Okay.
Shout out to Ace because he kind of came up with how we were going to have this conversation. So I was driving here. Shout out to ChatGPT because they have really helped me in a lot of different ways, me and a lot of people. And so I was like, let me ask Chat. Like, what would Chat say about it? I said, well, what is the difference? Is there a difference? Because at first I was like, I mean, they're synonyms. Like, is there any difference? This is what ChatGPT said. It says, thankfulness is usually a response to something external. It's more situational, often tied to receiving a special gift, favor, or blessing. For example, if someone gives you a meal, you say thank you. So it's an outward expression. Gratefulness goes deeper. It's more of an attitude or posture of the heart. It reflects ongoing sense of appreciation and awareness for the good things in life in circumstances that may not even be ideal. And I was like, ChatGPT said.
ChatGPT out here preaching.
I was like, that was phenomenal. But then thinking about it, I was like, yeah, because I know there are some times where someone will ask me, perfect example is doing 116 Live. People will ask me like, oh yeah, how do you like it? And my response always is, man, I'm so grateful. I can't, there's so no good. Other words I can describe to say it, but it's just like my heart is just like, if that's just how I feel, it's now, I'm thankful because I'll be saying that all the time, but like when my attitude, I'm so overwhelmed with gratitude when someone asks me what it's like doing this show. You know what I'm saying? So hearing good. That thankfulness is an outward expression. Gratitude is what I think you can hold on to year round.
Dang, that was great. That just gave me a lot of joy.
Shout out to Chat. That's why I couldn't say that on my own accord. That wasn't even my thoughts, but I thought I don't know. I just thought that was really eye opening.
Gratitude is an internal response to what's going on and a posture. Do you feel like we need? So I think thankfulness maybe in culture, it's almost like not cliche, but we are raised to be polite. We are raised to be thankful. Nice. Yeah, and say thank you. But do you feel like there's room for us to be more grateful? Yes, yo. Because you know what? I feel like, I love this conversation. Sometimes I feel like you can say thank you out of routine. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, for sure. Like, out of, naturally, my mom always raised us how or my dad, I think my dad did, where my mom makes dinner, but when we pray, we say, thank you, Mom. Like, we always do. And then sometimes you always, out of routine, you're just always saying it. So I think that sometimes thankfulness can come out of routine of us just always doing it. Always, when someone always opens the door for us, it's like a random act of kindness, things like that, or just like the things that usually happen in our life. But I think sometimes in order to be grateful, maybe sometimes you even have to just reflect, sometimes just reflect on your situation of how sometimes it's you didn't have this thing years ago, or you are in a better position than most people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it comes with reflection almost, being grateful, especially with this time of year. You know what I'm saying? We're in the season of giving and things like that. What do you think when it comes to that? I'm just meditating on what you're saying and just really my heart is being stirred and very gentle. My response is overflowing with, as you're talking to me, I'm just looking at how God's, I'm so grateful. It made me think about how, even to God, even to others, how we say we are raised and called to say thank you to people. You know what I'm saying? What would it look like if we said, you know what, I'm grateful for you? Yeah. How much deeper would that sit with somebody? And then I think about it and I'm like, man, I'm thankful for God for what He's done. But I'm just grateful for who He is. It's that's why it makes it when I'm, wanting to complain or critique, not like not like when there's reasonable grounds to be critical, but when it's like, now this complaining, cynical energy is like just a funk. You're just sitting in the midst of, it's almost, I mean, maybe even spiritually, you're just not seeing God. So your response is, let me critique and say everything's wrong. But when I think about that, I'm just like, man, I'm so grateful because God, allowed me to still have these moments where I, complain and be ungrateful. His goodness, it just moves me to gratefulness. Like
mercy.
Yeah.
Bro.
I'm like, I'm just so compelled to just say, man, God, I'm grateful. I'm grateful when I think about the artists that we had. I think about the year and how every now and then I'll jump in on YouTube and read a few comments or I'll be around. Like, man, there was Hovey was on tour with Brandon Lake and Phil Wickham and Gwinnett. I was with my boys and I was just low key chilling. And a young lady who I guess was volunteering there came up to me. And this doesn't happen that often. I honestly don't take this stuff that serious, to be honest. She was like, I know you. I was like, yeah, okay. She's like, Ace Harris. She's like, nah, I mean, I know you the A&R, but she said, the 116 Life. She was like, thank you for this show because I watch it all the time.
Wow.
And it moves. And my son was like, Dad, you're famous. Like, nah, I'm not famous. Our views is on YouTube. We kind of like, you know what I'm saying? We may not be on your top podcast rating. And that's not even, we're cool. We chilling.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm grateful that the Lord allows us to be here to have conversations that, impacts people to see Him more clearly. And so my response is, man, I'm grateful. Not, hey, let me try to go be number one. Let me go try to do this for my own glory. But just that God would allow, He chose us to do this. And so we're here. So y'all keep listening so we can stay on. Having a conversation about Thanksgiving, being grateful, and for all the ways God's been faithful in our lives. And I mean, I'm enjoying this conversation because I think we can't talk enough about being grateful as a response to who God is. That topic can never get old. It's never redundant. It's always fresh.
Always relevant. Always necessary.
Always necessary.
Essential.
Yeah, essential is a great word. Like it's a core response of the Christian heart.
Core.
Just, God, thank you. Because people almost feel like, people forget. I think we forget that God don't really He's not bound to our desires per se. Like He's not bound to the things we want from Him.
Yeah.
Like sitting on this couch, having a glass of having running water. Like that stuff is not like you're not entitled to that stuff.
Yeah.
So I just want to respond in a way that's grateful. So got some scripture that I think that will help us kind of navigate this. And this is definitely stuff that scriptures that some of y'all probably heard, but I think will be helpful to our conversation. This one really stuck out to me. This is Psalms 95 verses 1-3. And it reads, "O come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout joyfully to the rock of our salvation. Let us come into His presence with thanksgiving. Let us make a joyful noise to Him with songs of praise, for the Lord is a great God and a great King above all gods." And I just think about that. Even like the music that we make, there's moments in songs for deep reflection, but man, it's just like shout. Like I think it's almost like when you see people that's really grateful and thankful, it's almost like people don't even know what to do with that. You ever see somebody that's like super like on fire and just with like gratitude?
Yeah.
It's almost like, it almost look kind of weird. Well, when I see that person again, I'm thinking about this passage.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on. Oh, come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout joyfully. And you'd be like, sometimes especially in church setting, you'd be like, yo, why is my man so hyped?
Why he so hyped, man?
Like, why is the sister like, but I wonder if there's something to maybe this is the kind of response that God would want to see in us and through us. Even like the people who, man, I met a guy the other day, man, at my kid's school, security guard. And so he's directing traffic on the way in every morning. And let's just say the security guard that they had last year, he was kind of like, he wasn't doing what this guy's doing. This guy is like, whistle in hand. I mean, it's cold in the morning.
Yeah.
It's rainy, it's dark. And he is like, it looks like, and it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. It looks like he's been up since 3 a.m. Like he be on 10, intense, smiling to all the parents. And he'll like real black man vibe. He's like, he see a brother. He's like, see, what's up?
Yeah.
And I saw him the other day at my kid's school. And they had like a little program or like a breakfast for the parents. And I was like, I'm gonna talk to this brother, man. And I talked to him. And he was just overflowing me with like joy.
Wow.
He was like, I want to do that every morning because I know that these kids may be going through a lot. These parents. Sometimes these parents be mean mugging him. And he's like, and I just smile right back after and I showed him love because he's like, man, we can choose joy.
Yeah.
We have a choice to be joyful, not to diminish pain, but we have a choice. And I think about this scripture. I think about him. Like it's almost like his joyfulness almost is like it's almost awkward. Like, yo, why are you so? Do you have bad moments?
Yeah, right.
But he's like, nah, I'm here to radiate this thankfulness, this joy, because we actually need more of these people.
We do
in our midst to remind us of the goodness of God. So, yeah, you got any thoughts about that?
Oh man, that's so beautiful. That just makes me think about the crossing guards at my school, man. Because you get grateful for them, and also, yeah, I think that goes back to us even talking about perspective.
Yeah,
of just how you after you talking to him, you have a whole new level of gratitude. You know, of just I don't know life. You know what I'm saying? So. Man, that's good. When thinking about scripture, and I think I've talked about this on the show about walking through what it means to be content. And my big sis, her name is Sabrina, shout out to her. And I was just like, things weren't going right in my life, Ace. They was going bad. I lost my job coming back from vacation. Relationships was on zero. I was fumbling my relationships in life, and I wasn't happy with where I was career-wise. And she looked at me and was like, well, if God didn't do anything else and this was the ceiling for your life, would you be okay with that? And I was like, no. She was like, that's your problem. And she brought me to Philippians 4:13. That's one thing I like about the Bible. But one thing that's also bad is the fact that we don't read things in context.
For sure.
And we take one scripture, like Philippians 4:13. Everybody said, I can do all things. Christ strengthens me. But if you read 11 and 12 into 13,
for sure,
it's about being content.
For sure.
It's about having gratitude. I'm going to read 11. It says, not that I was ever in need, for I learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live with almost nothing and with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether I have full or whether I'm empty, with plenty or little, for I can do everything through Christ who strengthens me. And I say that, I always feel like, when I learned that, I feel like contentment leads into gratitude. Yes. Because when you're content with whether you're a base or abounding, whether you have much or little.
Oof, that's good.
And therefore, you're able to be like, man, I'm just grateful for what I have, man.
For sure.
And then when you have that, you have joy. Because then you're like, oh, I have all these things. God's given me all I need. Like, I feel like, you know that recycle symbol? I feel like they all like go into each other. You know, I don't know. I think about that because it's like, nothing's ever going to be perfect.
No.
Nothing's ever going to be perfect.
Sure.
Life is going to happen. But whether you have much or whether you have little. I found the secret of living. Like, it's something about that just every time I read it, I'm just kind of like, man, this is what it means to be grateful.
That's so good. And you just gave a framework: contentment to gratefulness to joy.
It's just like they all. I don't know. It's like something about it.
Like that's like I don't know what you're gonna do with that. That's like a slogan. That's a framework that people can like, or diagram people can like work through to see how does that play. Like, how do I get to joy? Well. Maybe joy is not being seen because you're not grateful. Okay, maybe you're not grateful because you're not content. So you can just work through that. I think it'll help give people a framework to bring them joy. And I think the joy of the Lord is like, it should be in our response, but sometimes, again, we have the complaining and just the ungratefulness. And I feel like, not to say you can't have bad days, but you gotta like, whether with a lot or with a little, you gotta have that Philippians 4:13 mindset.
I will say this though. Hot take.
Go ahead. Let's go.
I think it's kind of, I don't say scary, but I'll put it like this. If you're a believer and Thanksgiving is only just a holiday to you and you only really like reflect around this time of year, I think that's kind of a dangerous space to be in.
For sure.
Only because I realized that. I walked through that walking through this with my friend and who was teaching me about being content. And when I started to cultivate gratitude and constantly giving Thanksgiving, when Thanksgiving came around, I was like, oh, I do this every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, like not saying that like it's only like, of course, don't get me wrong. Thanksgiving magnifies gratitude and thankfulness and things like that.
Right.
But if you only are thankful and grateful and thinking about these things, reflecting, having this posture only around this time of year, I just don't think that's a good space to be in. Because I feel like then you start to complain, then you start to criticize, and then you honestly maybe even get unhappy with God. I'm only saying this from personal experience. You get unhappy, you start to feel entitled for what you should have, opposed to always coming. There's I think Psalms 100, and I only know this because I used to sing in the choir.
Shout out, sing me, come on.
Oh my gosh, I used to sing in the choir, and my choir director had us memorize Psalms 100. So if there's anything scripture I know verbatim, it's that. And where it says, enter into his courts with thanksgiving, enter his courts with praise. And in the Message version, that translates as come to God with the secret password, thank you. And it's like, dang, like, and I'm curious, like, why is it so secret? Like, why do we not know? But maybe it's because maybe not all of us know to always, before we ask God for anything, before we cover anything, intercede, pray, whatever, complain, whatever. What if God's like, do you see me now? Like, do you see me here? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you recognize what I'm doing in your life this very, very moment? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I was just thinking about that when I was driving here. Was like, man, I'm grateful that I live a life of gratefulness where Thanksgiving, the holiday comes around, I can sit in all the things throughout the year, but I'm happy that I just don't reflect on this just one time in the 365.
That's so good. I think that's you hit it right on the head, and I think as we close, I think that's a word for the artist community, especially in to our space that we operate in, where we there's so much aspiring and talented creatives, artists, producers, choreographers, people that do video, and people that want to get into the arts and they have a heart of faith and they want to serve and they want to figure out how to do this as a career. And I think your Psalms 100 just kind of reminded me of something we could say to them and to those listening. Enter to his courts with thanksgiving, and it's like a secret password. And I feel like the comparison and the desire for more, desire for platform, desire for next year gonna be the year, desire for more streams, desire for growth, which, that desire needs to be filtered and purified. Not all of it is wrong to do better and grow. What if, the artist community looked less at where they're not in terms of the career and just had like entering his courts with thanksgiving. Like, yo, I'm thankful I get to create and give God glory and trust him on this journey along. So
that's good.
Hopefully that sets our hearts and minds for this Thanksgiving season. And when we come back, when we definitely come back next time, Meah gonna have a plate of some of that mac and cheese